Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mike Romelli here with the Hurricane Outlook and discussion for September 24th, 2019, recorded on 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're starting off today with Tropical Storm Jerry, which is beginning to undergo a weakening trend here. Still moving north at 7 with 50-mile-per-hour sustained winds, and this could bring some tropical storm force conditions to Bermuda by as early tomorrow morning, starting later tonight into early tomorrow morning, and then throughout the day tomorrow. This is not expected to kind of move as fast as initially thought, but as this is continuing to make that turn closer to Bermuda, this is expected to undergo a pretty good weakening trend with very limited convection currently around the center. We take a look here at the visible satellite. You can see this is the swirl of Tropical Storm Jerry. There is almost no deep convection around the center right now. And this is Bermuda right here, and this is the center of the storm right here. And you can definitely still see, though, there is going to be some impacts to Bermuda as these spiral bands kind of form out ahead of the storm and move towards Bermuda. Here you can certainly see that Bermuda has been dealing with some adverse weather today with some squally conditions, and that will only increase as the system continues to grow closer. Now, this is not expected to be a Hurricane Humberto situation with, strong, over 100-mile-per-hour winds. This will bring some tropical storm force conditions, certainly within any of these squalls that manage to develop and rotate around the center. That will certainly bring some tropical storm conditions and very heavy rainfall to Bermuda. But generally, this is expected to keep the core away. But again, this is expected to be weakening. Tropical storm force winds extend out pretty far away from the center, so there will be impacts to there. At the 3-day cone here, you can see not much has changed since yesterday, but for the most part, this could take a little bit of a dip actually eastward or southeastward over the coming days. This will have some impact to Tropical Storm Karen over the coming days. Speaking of Karen has actually intensified a little bit throughout the day today with maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour now. Moving north at 8 with a pressure of about 1,005 millibars. Tropical storm warnings for St. Croix, U.S. British Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. And there will be a flash flooding threat for St. Croix, the Bermuda, or not for Bermuda, but for Puerto Rico and the U.S. British Virgin Islands. There will be a significant flash flooding threat, and we will kind of get into that here in just a second. But for the most part, this is expected to remain a tropical storm for the next coming days, and then eventually some might take a turn out in this region, but it is a little hard still to determine exactly where this thing might go, with the main point being what influence does Tropical Storm Jerry have when it is in this region. Is it sticking around, or is it kind of moving off towards the northeast? Some models sort of loop it around, some still take it away and out to sea. But for the main problem here, it is going to be how strong is this system in this time frame throughout Friday, Saturday, that time frame. Exactly how strong is it? Even on Thursday, how strong is that system, and where exactly is it? If this gets placed a little bit more further off towards the west, this has a better chance of making it a westward shift. If it is a little bit further north and impacted more by Tropical Storm Jerry, there could be impacts to portions of that region by later in the week. So Bermuda still needs to keep an eye on the system, as any track deviations could have a big impact there for everybody sort of involved. Currently looking right now at the visible satellite, you can certainly see, though, this has increased in convective structure and organization throughout the day today. If we go to the COD Meteorology website here, you can certainly see that we've had an increase in the organization, and a lot more convection has started to continue to be dispersed by the system. You can see a really strong band of convection here, probably producing some pretty squally conditions, gusty winds, 50, 60 miles per hour, possibly very heavy rainfall causing a flooding threat, certainly. The center is located roughly somewhere in about this region in here. It's still a little bit elongated, but the recon plane did find about 1,006 pressure with some stronger winds actually on the southeastern, kind of the southern side and southeastern quadrants. Let's update that actually. Pretty much still the same But you can certainly see that center reformation has occurred and now is continuing to move off towards the north and should continue to impact this region throughout the next couple of hours, certainly through about tomorrow. Once this passes Puerto Rico tonight, by tomorrow morning, this is expected to be well past the islands and bring no threats really after tomorrow morning, so that is good news certainly for them. And then this is gradually expected to work off towards the north and end somewhere out in this region. Take a look at the latest 12Z European model. You can certainly see here, this is by 5 days out, that Jerry is, or not Jerry, but rather Karen is actually a little bit better organized in the model field today. It's a little bit deeper of a pressure, a little bit better and stronger overall because of the stronger nature of the system currently. So I still don't think this has an overall good idea of exactly how strong Karen may be in this time. But conditions overall throughout the next couple of days aren't really super favorable in this region. But certainly it is interesting that the Euro is sort of picking this up more. By hour 1:44, there should be enough ridging over here that's going to force us further to the west. So as this sort of comes up, this is expected to sort of stall in this region and then potentially head west. Exactly where it goes after that is still anyone's game. You also know this is Tropical Storm Lorenzo out here, which will be a powerful hurricane over the coming days, but this is generally expected to turn well out to sea and be of really no consequence to land there. So certainly a lot to go on there. This is Tropical Storm Lorenzo, expected to be a major hurricane here over the coming days, but turn well away from sea and be of no significant consequence. Visible satellite does show that there was a little bit of shear earlier, sort of impinging on the system. We've seen this deeper convection, though, sort of oscillate back into the center there. So a lot to watch here over the coming days. I'll have another video discussion out by the 5 o'clock advisory detailing everything new with the 5 o'clock advisory for Karen and Jerry. Hope you all have a great rest of your afternoon. I'll be back at 5 o'clock.